Hello. Do you like mentally unwell people? Do you like guys who do not like you back? Do you like indie projects started with a few bucks and a dream? Yandere Simulator is a video game that began development in 2014 under indie dev Alex Mahan. What the project entailed was you playing as a high school student trying to win over their love interests by any means possible. Because this love interest is basically so attractive and enthralling, they have enough people competing for them to fit 2 Kia Seltoses. I checked. At the time of this script being written, the game has a demo released with 1 complete rival. Another is present but unfinished, and the 3rd rival plant makes a single appearance but is not present as a challenge. There are already several videos and posts detailing the several controversies of the developer, so this will mainly focus on some critiques I personally had of the game and its current state. I want to share my personal reimagining of the project, what that would look like, because I have a general interest in the concept. I can't possibly fix Yandere Simulator, nor do I want to devote too much time and energy to Yandev's interpretation of the concept of a murderous high school in pursuit of love. Additionally, any resemblance to the fan redesigns are purely coincidental. I do not intend to rip anyone else off. If I took any inspiration subconsciously, that was by chance, but once again, I do not intend to rip anyone off. By the way, yes, that is my annoying ass ceiling fan. I actually do live in the Five Nights at Freddy's first game office, and that is why the audio sounds like shit, okay? So let me go over some of my issues with the project as is. The demo has a very bland art style. The style relies on assets from the Unity asset store. Every single NPC and the protagonist have the same base with a little to no variation in their facial features. And if there are some differences, then they're too insignificant for me to care. Originally, the default model for every NPC is Kiryu. I'm butchering that. Kiryu. I don't care. This is a feminine high school student with blue eyes and a blue ponytail. She's about $35 on the Unity Asset Store and is a product of Game Asset Studio. Ai comes in several different outfits, including Japanese high school uniforms, a swimsuit, all of which, or most of which, have been used at some point in Yandere Simulator. Now, I am well aware that plans to replace all the current models in the game are in the works, but it's been over a decade of development, and almost every, if not every single animation in this game has been tweaked to this particular base, fit to this model, Everyone looks related with the variety of features this cast has. It's not a big hassle tweaking a few simple animations to not clip 3 new models, but you'd think they'd start using original models sooner than later to avoid the load of that tweaking they'd have to do. Surely it's nothing huge, but you can't tell me every single NPC has the exact same height and body type. What if this Taro Yamada guy just kisses the air at some point, if they make him taller and each rival has a different height? I don't know if they want to add much variety, but it's the least you could do, in my opinion, having a moderately noticeable difference in height. At least, since everyone already looks like first cousins to me. Sorry. Yeah, you would think he's 6'7" or something with the amount of 6'7", the amount of girls chasing him. Anyways, this isn't that big of a deal. My second one. I just hate Ayano's hair physics. Just hate them. It looks like, when you're making hair physics in MMD and you set the joint values up to minus 50-50, minus 50-50, minus 50-50. It's I don't know. It's so gross. It has edge lines on it and it's clipping through itself. So a black, a black edge line just cuts through, and it looks like I've chopped off a bit of the ponytail and the other half is somehow still dangling from it. And instead of texture, it's just that black edge line underneath that. I don't know how to describe it, but it's there if you play the game. Ridiculous. Okay, now, coding is not in my area of expertise whatsoever, but I've never had a laggier experience in my life. Hours worth of progress have been lost with save files I couldn't use, because just loading in would have made my game run at 1 frame per second, and suddenly I can fry eggs on my laptop. Insane. Please fix your game. It's so demotivating having to work so hard for the love and affection for this mediocre guy. Sorry, just what, you can't even start a conversation with him or anything. He is just so annoying. If you get like a centimeter closer in his general direction, he is not the prime minister. I should be able to talk to him. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't feel like motivated to kill all these girls for the attention of a guy who like doesn't let me speak to him normally. Or like if I go a little bit closer to him, I just start freaking out. Like, oh my god, a guy. Like, I don't know, if I can't talk to him, I'm just not gonna give a shit. Now, how would I go about writing her? My understanding of the situation is that this is a protagonist who wants their love interest at any cost whatsoever. They're willing to do whatever it takes. That means nothing is off the table. I'm talking about reinventing your personality, changing your appearance, getting into his interests and hobbies, and dare I say, playfully punching him and going, oh my god, stop, you're so mean to me. Or, you know, I'm not that short. I don't know. Off the top of my head, like those are the 2 things I would do if I was extremely desperate. You know, like dignity is out of the window now, off the table. Let's just start with the basics. You cannot change your gender yet in the game, so I'm just gonna go with a girl. Okay, the name I managed to put together, Aika Shikawa. Yeah, Shikawa. I don't know. I like named her Aika first, and then last minute I put together a surname because I do not like care about the surnames that much. Sorry, I just need something to call them by. What do these mean? First name, from the limited research Google gave me, love, affection, fondness, first syllable, and then second syllable, singing, and then for her surname, the first half, ambition, second half, river. You know what? I think it works. I don't want anything right in your face with a double meaning, and as far as I'm aware, there could be an ordinary person out there with the name Ayano Aishi. However, in the context of the game, it does carry that intended, aforementioned, like double meaning that I don't want. It has like negative connotations. I don't know, something related to death, you know, with the surname, the syllable she. I don't want that. I don't want such a like in your face double meaning. I think what I was going for is I wanted her to have a name more oriented with, you know, being ambitious and focused on that goal, like dedicated to the craft. Love, ambition works for me, I guess. Like, gets the message across. This person is determined. I feel like you could meet an ordinary person named Aika Shikawa, right? I would assume. Okay. Now that you know her name is Aika, from this point onwards, I can refer to her as that. Aika is the same age and stuff as Ayano. Yeah. I imagine about like 17. Backstory time, because I can't imagine doing like jack shit for 17 years. Okay. She had an ordinary family. I imagine she was closer to her mother for most of her childhood, a homemaker who doted on her daughter. Her father, on the other hand, worked hard to support his family, though it was difficult for him to relate or understand her. Nonetheless, he loved his wife and daughter very much. So, like, very ordinary people, you know. But like, I do not like care about 1980s mode that much. Later has a 1980s mode in which you play as Ayano's mother, Ryuba Aishi. We see that Ryuba had the same violent tendencies as Ayano, murdering her classmate for having the audacity to like the same guy as her. It's like the tutorial part of 1980s mode. We also see that Jokichi, not unlike Tari Yamada, managed to pull, in fact, he pulled 11 girls, including Ryuba Aishi, with an 11th obstacle for Ryuba, who she must eliminate, being the assistant of a journalist investigating the case of aforementioned murdered classmate. It's like he pulled a bunch of girls by just being really like special, and then the last rival was, I'm not sure if she actually liked Yokichi or not. She just wanted to like investigate the murder. She was locked in, so I don't know if that counts. Okay. I've decided in my rewrite, I'll just avoid any big trials outside the main game mode, potentially becoming integral to the lore, at least since I've begun with the cast, right? Like I just started, I don't want to sort out an entire game mode, which is like a prequel to the main story. I don't care, it'll just be up to interpretation, whatever. Aika's mother has jealousy issues. I'll say, I can picture her being prone to outbursts, feeling doubtful of her husband. History repeats itself type of situation. Whether or not she actually killed someone, just leave it to you. I imagine her father to be a patient man who will always calm her down though. Taika, this is a normal dynamic for a family. People just get overwhelmed every now and then or angry. It happens. It's typical. Okay, as a child she was rather reserved and quiet. Kept to herself. Aika, I mean, not completely antisocial, but she would find her playing by herself more often than she would socialize with other children. She blended into the background picture. But then you get to her second year of high school, Aika no longer goes unnoticed as a detail in the background. What changed? Okay. I wrote a little bit of what I imagined their first meeting to go like, so that you can have a general idea of their dynamic. I don't want a protagonist who falls head over heels for a guy just by looking at him or bumping into him when she's been like stoic and unbothered for most of her life. I know you do what you want, Aika, you will talk to this guy and then you will obsess over him. Pardon my reading this, okay. I'm not like experienced at just reading shit out and not laughing. You didn't see me smoking. Your mother stiffens for a moment as Aika's lingering gaze looks past his eyes and into the very back of his mind. You're smoking on school grounds? She innocently blinks, bringing him back to his senses. Don't tell anyone, okay? They never spoken before, and she already had something she could use against him. Would this seemingly harmless little thing really exploit him for her own benefit? She couldn't have looked any more like a lost pawn. Yamada forced a polite smile, hoping she wouldn't tattle. You know my name? Her eyes widened a bit more. Aika tugged at the ends of her skirt, unsure how to feel. His staring was definitely stirring an unusual response within. A reddish tint crept up to her cheeks. With his antisocial nature, she barely caught a glimpse of him before. Perhaps he would occasionally wait for, like, in brackets, Osana, but like, I haven't named her yet, so I'm just gonna keep calling her Osana, but she's not gonna be Osana, that's fine. Okay. Osana outside their classroom. Other students would whisper here and there about him, but nothing particularly interested Aika. Seeing him up front, his towering figure looking down at her, she couldn't help but notice his sharp features. If looks could kill, she would be bleeding out on the floor right now. You're in the same class as Osana, if I'm not mistaken, no? The boy asked. He leaned back on the railing and let out another puff of smoke. I just didn't care. Anyone noticed me? That's certainly a gloomy way to put it. The two looked in different directions, unsure whether to say or do anything. Aika tugged at the hem of her skirt, but she wasn't shy enough to just back away. Not just yet. After all, this mysterious boy had managed to catch her eye simply by saying her name. That day, this was dragging on far too long. He must have found her weird and annoying for sticking around this long when he's just trying to smirk. The thought clouded her mind and she skidded away like a timid rabbit as she hurried off. The image of Yamada's piercing stare past his overgrown bangs burned into the back of her eyelids. Okay, that's how I imagined their first meeting, because honestly, I don't think either of these two know how to hold a proper conversation. Maybe that's wrong, but she's just like shy and he's just like jaded. She's like, I'm so sorry. I don't know where I'm going with this right now, but I feel like this is a little bit more interesting than bumping into him. Okay, a guy who smokes, like, realistically, even if the chance of lung cancer in the future is a little bit higher, that is one more characteristic that you can think about with Tarimana. You know, does he smoke? Does he not smoke? Does he drink? Does he not drink? I don't know. What does he do except read a book for 90% of the school day? walks around, I think. I don't know. Okay, now the design, the fit, the look. I started off by modeling the base from scratch for the very first time ever. This was actually my very first model, like 100% from, like, original. So I did wing it for the most part. Like, I'm experienced with editing Tida Tsunemiku because I'm a failure. It's been so long, but yeah, I love editing Tida models. I love Tida. You're my idol, Tida. But yeah, so this was my first attempt at like 100% original base, and I think I did all right for my first try. If I could change anything in post, I would try making the fingers look a little bit less like salad fingers. You know, he's like just his influence. Wow. The base looks a little bit possessed by him, but it's fine. It's fine. Like, no one's gonna notice. It was my first try. I'll forgive myself. Getting out of the script. It was actually very confusing. Like, I threw in the bones in Blender, but I make all my meshes in Metasquare because I don't know much about how Blender works. And then I opened a PMX editor and I sorted out like simple components that were missing, you know, motherboard, group bone, this, that. I don't know why it just would not work out. I tried adding it manually. I tried using that semi-standard bone plugin. It hasn't worked out. I had to get a lot of help from pals. Thank you, guys. Okay, anyways. The face was where I felt that I needed to deviate further from the original. I added whatever this is supposed to be down here. Okay, I know what this is. It's like, I was thinking, right, like, she's gotta look creepy, right? Okay, but I don't want visible, like, strong eye bags, because I just feel like if I added those and made her, like, look sleep-deprived, exhausted, like she's up thinking, well, this guy lady, like, I don't know, you get the vibe, right, of, like, thick eye bags, and oh my gosh, no sleep, whatever. Like, if I added that, I would go all in, but I don't want to go all into that. So to make her look somewhat uncanny, I'm gonna kind of like drag out her eye bags, not eye bags, like this area a little bit more. But the thing is, this is just a texture. This isn't even her real waterline. What if I added like a waterline mesh, which I always do? What if I did that? Like would I still be respectable? Like what if I did that? Like, okay, that's a little bit. I did not want Aika to have an evidently stoic and quote-unquote emotionless expression. Now that she's obsessing over this guy for whatever reason, she's gonna walk in and present herself as more friendly and extroverted than she actually is, right? But it's not like she knows how to do that immediately or has the energy to put up a front 24/7. I almost gave her these like dead fish like eyes, you know? I don't know why anyone would particularly want to date someone who looks like a dead fish, but then I thought, okay, no, she should have bloodthirst behind her eyes, because I just want to take that direction myself, the direction in which this girl has more brightness and personality to her now that she's actually dedicated to something. Her default expression, I imagine, would kind of be like a resting bitch face, though, because she doesn't have anyone to impress right there most of the time. I took the life out of her, and as you can see, I dragged the waterline down and out to hopefully give her a slightly uncanny look. My intention was to let you know from the second you laid eyes on this girl that there is something deeply troubling about her. You should know something is up. By the end of the process, I did my best at giving her more pinkish hues. She's got light makeup on. As you can tell, I was attempting something with the blush and eyeshadow. This is probably the strangest nose I've done yet, but it's fine. It's fine. It's the nose. It's not that important. Okay, no, wait, if like I was a girl desperate for a guy's attention and like I had to like change the way I do my makeup, would I give myself like a button nose or attempt to like do my very best to make it look tiny, cute? I don't know. I did not bother this time because like prestigious Japanese high school can't spend too much time on makeup. It must look natural, low key. I don't know. I moved on to designing the uniform right after the face because I prefer making hair after the outfit so that it doesn't clip into the clothes. Like, that's just my personal preference. The original Aoi base already has a few different uniforms to pick from, but I wanted to try making my own. To be honest with you, I did not want to put too much time and energy into the uniform because this is an outfit meant to represent the school and not just an individual character. Most characters with unique interests and hobbies would probably personally customize it to their liking. Anyway, so the default version isn't that important to me. I went for something that looks cute and to some degree establishes that the school is prestigious. The academic performance they expect from me is nothing but stellar, and the competition is cutthroat. Since I find the nature of this concept to be a bit more like, ooh, everything is edgy and cute, but edgier behind the cute. Ooh, I wanted to give it harsher colors instead of blue, like I originally intended to add. I thought the blue would give it more of that classy element, but I don't care. The shirt is white, simple. Hey, I am not used to recording things. Okay, I don't know if I can show this skirt because, okay, wait, it's not done yet. I just started the skirt, but, this top uniform, I'm not sure. Oh my god, a butt. I'm not sure where I was going with this, to be honest. I think this is a very, tight uniform from the front. You can't really tell, from other angles, I think, but I was not sure what to do because from what I have learned in my limited experience with modeling, I would call it limited. It's not really that expert. I don't know. I do model clothes damn near skin tight, and this is not a character that I want sexualized in any way because she's a schoolgirl. She represents a high school student. She's probably underage, 17ish. So I don't want her clothes to be way too tight, but I did try and make it fitted so that it doesn't look too odd. Anyways, this red ribbon is I'm thinking, I was originally planning on making the uniform blue, but because academy, I don't care. It was described as a prestigious institution until the big murder. Yeah, so I thought blue kind of giving me prestigious high class vibes, but red, that's a more that's a color that would alert you more, especially if you're a bull. I don't think a bull will be using this model, but it generally alerts you a little bit more than blue, I think. I mean, what's alerting you more right now, this bow or this blue background right here? Exactly. I don't want it to be too basic, but I think I'm going for a semi-cutesy vibe with this. Ignore that. Oh my fucking god, I hate that. But ignore it. I want this uniform to not be too detailed because I will have a plain-ish basic uniform on which I will add more accessories and independent design so that they reflect the character's personality. That is my plan. I don't know if I'll achieve my goals, but that's the plan. That's the game plan. Yeah. So it's a simple white shirt with this red ribbon up over here for now. And for the skirt, I'm aiming for something not too long, but I don't want it to be so short that she can't run around and kill people easily, I want it to be practical but also cute, and yeah, so I will be back. Also, I would just like to state This ribbon was painful. It was painful. Okay. Bold. The skirt is plaid. Is it plaid or plaid? I think it's plaid. And black. The bow is red. Now you may think, ooh, you left, I guess, so basic and simple because you didn't want to deal with too much work for a character who's going to join clubs and have different looks depending on that. Anyway, well, yes. I'm not wasting my time on a character, like, who's going to have so many changes given her choices in the game overall. I'm going to waste too much time on her default design and like the uniform she wears, because everyone is wearing this uniform. But I did give her socks that'll blow your socks off. Yes, I kept the black like ayano aishis, but I did add frills, white frills and black bows on each side so she can be a little bit more feminine and adorable. Like a white, black and red, not the closest to threatening colors. If colors could be threatening, just think about it. I should say, I feel like adding bow physics was the most annoying part of the uniform. I knew what I wanted with the flowy ribbons hanging from the bows on the socks, but the one on the chest, I did not want it to clip into the shirt. So I survived that nightmare because I managed to use a rigid body plugin. Thank you. All the physics on this model are thanks to skirt plugin, actually. I do not care about it if I have to do it manually. So I started off the hair with side swept bangs. I think they would actually look quite nice. Like, they just look nice as side swept bangs the way they already are. I didn't think too hard on, like, the cut I wanted her hair to have. This is probably what I would have slapped on any character, honestly. Like, in the past few months, I've just been, like, giving them side swept or blunt cut every character. Unless, like, I did not design the hair. So, as you can see, I don't care about yansim anymore. I'm just doing my own thing. I did want her to attempt to be more feminine by braiding her hair and also to appeal to Yamada somehow, you know, to stand out, dyeing it a lighter shade of brown than it naturally is. Something just tells me she would do that, like, not a color that's too bright and risque, but she would want to stand out. Okay, just a slightly lighter shade of brown, it's gonna work out. At some point it did look like spider legs from above, but like, who's gonna notice? Who's gonna notice that? What's girlier and cuter than pink ribbons? Yes, she will tie each braid with a pink ribbon into a bow. And then I decided, you know what, you get 2 hair clips as a treat, even though your appearance changes based on the club. You get this thing by default. It's cute. The shoes, I didn't care. They're just like simple black shoes, school shoes. I don't care. Wow. Okay, that's like a great design change so far. Okay, you're probably wondering, wow, after all that hard work and effort, what do you have to show for yourself? Because I'm just looking at really shitty screenshots of Metasquare. I did try to record my process for doing like the bangs physics, but for whatever fucking reason, Shortcut video editor, I don't like this video editor anymore. I want it to die. It's being like, no, sorry, it's too laggy. No, I'm not gonna, no. So I guess I'll just make an MMD video, a good old-fashioned MMD video, and show you the, yeah.
궁금해서 미칠 것만
I hate what they have of Taro Yamada so much because it's such a waste of potential to make like a guy who can pull an absurd amount of girls for no good reason. Like, if please help my video perform well so I get the motivation to show you my ideas for this guy. I'm just turning people into my OCs. I don't give a fuck. Like, even if it's kind of shitty and borders on being fan fiction, I have ideas. So please support me, because this is my first video ever where I put effort, into it. It takes more than a few days, and I think about what I'm gonna say. So please like and subscribe.